G'day team, Jeremy Britton, 24-hour wealth coach, and today I just wanted to get naked. Being naked is more than just trying to grab attention, it's more than just being rude. It's actually the truest way of being authentic. When you're naked, everybody can tell everything about you. Whether you eat too much, whether you work out too much, whether you've got a few cuts, scars, bruises. When you're naked, you can't hide anything. Some of us think that by putting on clothes we can actually cover up and not show our authenticity, but it's still written on your face. On my body, sorry mum, look away, but I do have a couple of things that God and mum and dad didn't give me. They're there forever. And for me, when I'm naked, I'm showing off my beliefs, I'm showing off who I am. And when I'm authentic and in my presentations, I do wear clothing. Rest assured you can bring the kids along to the presentation, but I can't help but be me. It's authentic, it's who I am. What I do shows off what I believe. When I was a lot younger, I was brought up in a strict religious background and I was taught what to believe. I was told what to believe. As I grew up, I started to doubt that belief a little bit. I started to notice a few things that didn't quite fit, and a lot of the people who were actually in that religion went along to the church, their actions didn't quite line up with what they were saying. I lost a bit of faith at that time. REM said, I'm losing my religion. I do believe in Christianity, I just no longer believe in churchiology. There's a big difference. I started to look for some people who were authentic, and I spied people who actually looked happy doing what they were doing, and when they sang and danced they were happy. And these guys dressed differently, acted differently, they seemed happy. I started hanging around with these guys, and a lot of people don't know that in my past life I used to listen to a lot of heavy metal. I hung around with a lot of guys who took a lot of drugs. I went to the rock concerts, I hung out with the people. I bought all the albums, I bought the t-shirts, I was very much into that scene. And some of you out there thinking this is really cool, he went and saw Nirvana and he hung out with Guns N' Roses and this sort of stuff. Well, let me tell you, what you possess ends up possessing you. The fact that I had every CD, all these heavy metal bands, and listened to that and put that into my mind, the fact that I hung around with these people and I possessed these friends, that ended up possessing me and becoming deeply a part of who I was. And I was a long way down that road before I actually realized this isn't really where I want to go. And these guys that I put up on a pedestal and bought all their albums, they were not living a lifestyle that I wanted to emulate. When someone in your band dies of a drug overdose or drinks 4 bottles before they walk on the stage, you think, maybe there's more to life. Maybe I need to actually change my life a little bit. And I started with my possessions. I actually got rid of all the t-shirts, all the CDs, all of that stuff, and started to fill my mind with something completely different. Yes, I bought a whole bunch of Hillsong stuff. I listened to positive music. I still do listen to positive music. Soul Man O'Gaia, look him up. Fantastic guy. Not belonging to any one particular religion, but if you listen to a lot of happy music, if you listen to a lot of positive speakers, if you pick up some scriptures, whether that be Christian, Buddhist, Hindu, it doesn't really matter. Whatever you focus on, whatever you possess is going to end up possessing you. Whatever you put into your mind is actually going to come out in your life. I know now, I can see the young kids as I walk along the street, and if they're wearing the heavy metal t-shirts and listening to that music, you can see them, they look depressed even though they're trying to be happy. They look depressed, they act depressed, they have miserable, horrible things happen to them, and they wonder why. Now you can explain it with karma, you can explain it with mental attitude, you can explain it with neuroassociative physiology, doesn't really matter. But whatever you put in is what you're going to get out. Jesus said, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And I'm sure you've had conversations with people, and whatever you say, they twist it around to sex and some sort of innuendo. You can tell what's going on in the back of their head. Or you can say, look, I've had a miserable, horrible day to someone, and they said, yeah, me too, and they play the game of one-upmanship, and they try to prove to you that their life is worse than your life. They're probably watching a lot of soap operas and concentrating on the bad things and filling their mind with bad things, and then, very unsurprisingly, they have bad things happening in their life. What if you walked up to someone and said, look, I'm having a terrible day, I just crashed my car, and they actually turned that around and showed you the opportunity, showed you the blessing in that? That is the mark of someone who's not only got a great attitude, but is also going to have some great outcomes. Being able to see opportunity in every crisis is the mark of a millionaire. Remembering that the depression, the happiness, the innuendo comes out of you. You weren't born with it. Somebody put it in there. Somebody said it to you and you let it in. You decided that agreed, that resonated with you. Maybe it's time to let it out. Maybe it's time to move on. Maybe it's time to actually get rid of some of your possessions, whether it be CDs, books that you read, friends that you hang around with. Remembering, of course, that whatever you possess ends up possessing you. Tip for the day: stay authentic.